Today we will know a little more about a Genshin character, Kaveh the Architect and winner of the Sumeru Interscholastic Championship. The encounter mission allows us to share moments of the different characters and obtain 5 different endings with images and protogems. We will do the longest route and from there the remaining 4 endings. In Sumeru we will find Kaveh discussing with a client who requested several corrections to his project. His name is Badawi and he is asking for changes without giving an idea of what he is really looking for. Now he wants to change construction elements and switch to cheap materials, which angers our architect. He abandons the project and goes to the tavern. We find him inside. He buys us a drink and asks us not to say what we saw. He maintains a soliloquy questioning being an architect and art. From here we choose answers in different routes. We will choose the materialization of the effort so that he believes that we think in the same way. The wine disorients him, so we chose to look for the client, and I also don't think he did it to complicate your life. We go to Porta Olmos, finding Badawi in the commercial area. We tell him that we want to continue the project. Everything was going well until they suggest the cheapest materials. Kaveh says that if he did, he should start the proposal from scratch. The materials he asks for remain its artistic value and function. Clarifies that saving materials hardly changes the cost of the work. Badawi asks us for time and leave. We decide to follow him. We find him in mercenary clothes asking for a job without any luck. Confronting him, he confesses that what he wants is a library for the children and adults of the desert. He wants to do his part to help his people, but he was previously scammed by another architect. Kaveh understands this situation since he went through the same thing in another project. We chose the option to try a different style. Kaveh says that if you want to support children you don't have to sacrifice the aesthetics of the work so that they have artistic references. We will go to the site of the work to inspire you. We ask Badawi to help us protect transportation routes to reduce material losses. In the Aru village we see the delivery route with several monsters to eliminate. At the end Badawi confesses that he is going to give all his savings for the work, which moves Kaveh. He tells us that his whim as a child cost his father his life and she has wanted to find redemption for her act. We return to the village and start working. Soteria appears and joins us interested in the project. After a few questions we already have the projection, materials, cost, work time ready. According to the customs of his profession we baptize the style as Ladeism. We reach the end of Los Planos del Futuro. We look for the next route in the menu and click on Secrets to get to confront Badawi. We choose the option to seek sponsorship from other merchants. Among the candidates we mention Dori, and Kaveh refuses because she would not invest if she did not see profits. We go to Alcazar's Palace. Dori receives us with surprise since she only sees Kaveh on the day to pay her debt. He reproaches her that she only thinks of blackberries and for her these are everything. Her palace is somewhat empty and she wants to fill it with them. We explain to her the situation and she will present us with merchants in exchange for blackberries. Kaveh gets angry and she decides that it will be free, but we will have to convince them. We know Kasumi, Tipu and Rubab. They have little interest in the project. We choose the option to build the library in name of them. They are not interested in what we offer more advantages that they like. Suddenly they remember that someone bought the land in that area for which they refuse. We spoke with Dori who tells us that she knew what would happen. She is willing to introduce them to the Sumeru's most famous merchant to convince him. We followed her to the place, but the merchant was none other than Dori, who seems promising about Kaveh's plan. The costs will be very high, but she can pay them. Before she says anything else Kaveh decides to give up charging commission sum for the design and to take responsibility for the project. She won't earn blackberries, but she is happy to help the children. Dori shows us the contract and reveals that she didn't know what to do with the land until we showed up. She would only propose to reduce costs by starting the construction work immediately until Kaveh decided to give up the winnings. Annoyed, he orders the best dishes and wine to get even for the commission he just gave away. We've gotten the final deal. The third route takes us to Sincerity in the tavern. We choose the same options until we reach the question of what to do. We choose to do something else to clear our minds. We choose why he chose to be an architect. He tells us that when his father died, his mother, who she was a cargo architect alone with her upbringing. Her designs and efforts influenced her interest in architecture. Since she got married again, he hasn't had contact with her and he has no way to ask her for advice. Remember that he has all his belongings, so we're going to take a look. At Al-Hassan's house we open a box that has a lot of memories. A drawing made by Kaveh child. We chose it because you ask. He says that self-criticism and questioning are part of the artistic process. He mentions an incident where he put his plans in his mother's project by mistake. She made him apologize to the client, but he never reprimanded him. Instead, he taught him everything he could. We found his mother's diary with a code that he could never open. We chose the option your name. He mentioned several of the passwords he tried. We chose to ask a friend, let's go find her teacher who she was close with. We meet Tignari, who invites us to a dinner. We accept and continue to the house of Zanahati, who is upset about a lost bet. She explains what happened and we mention the diary. Faranak is the name of Kaveh's mother. We find out that she is doing well. She moved to Fontaine and is still an architect. Kaveh does not hold a grudge against her because she knows the sacrifices she made as a mother. Zana mentions that she was very beautiful and hard on himself who sought perfection. She mentions her thoughts about art and the hope that someone will understand them one day. We choose understanding, but it is not the key either. Zana mentions the resemblance between Kaveh and her mother. It is discovered that the password is company. We read stories of how she met her husband, how he decided the name of his son, the loss of his beloved, drawings where he was together with his friends reunited, as well as a message for Kaveh in which he says how happy he is that he is following his dreams. We headed to Tignari's dinner and Al-Hassan didn't show up. Kaveh said they shouldn't wait for him, but he decides they should chat a bit. Dinner is to discuss Kaliai's future in his second study period as well as options for when he's in trouble. Chino says who has never been in that situation. Kaveh says that working hard all night. Tignari wants better options. Al-Hassan appears and mentions that the important thing about the classes is how much the student can remember. They begin to discuss what would be the best career to choose and Tignari mentions that he still has to pass the second period. Al-Hassan is going to lend him a study guide and Kaveh tells him to write "Don't be an architect" on the first page. This ends up with Kaveh drunk. Chino wants to tell jokes and Tignari says that they better continue eating. We have obtained the idle meeting ending. In the fourth route we choose relics full of memories. We use the same options until we reach maybe you shouldn't focus. We return to the Dania to browse information. Kaveh spent a lot of time there and you can add your own notes and books to the library. We find ourselves at Al-Hassan who comments that the books with Kaveh's annotations were placed on distant shelves because they were too detailed and complicated information. He also leaves all kinds of sketches between books. We headed to Port Ormuz and Kaveh tells us that the bridge was the first project he was commissioned. He is glad that they built it without having to make corrections. We chose I'm sure people love it. We visited the Dune of the Great in the desert. We will have a fight and the opportunity to use Kaveh again. He confesses to us the difficulties in his studies and that the Alcazar's Palace left him in debt. He remembers Al-Hassan's claims for clinging to the past, but he considers that he has had good luck. He followed in his mother's footsteps. He has had many clients, recognition, and that he will always have enthusiasm in the life and love for his work. He finally knows the answer to what art is. We have achieved the achievement romantic architecture and the fourth route under the mantle of stars. For the final route we return to sincerity in the tavern. We advance to the options such as doing something else. We choose you have also thought about changing profession. Kaveh will remember Alchemy, a successful fellow student. We are going to Port Ormuz to find him in the docks. He asks about the success of the Alcazar's Palace, but Kaveh dodges the answer. An architect without profit from his project seems strange to him. Alchemy offers us a job as a teacher as it is the best promotion. His institute is a place that offers them integrate even faster into the world of work. He cannot tell us figures, but he will earn much more than as an architect. We chose at least not to fight with clients anymore. He offers us 300,000 blackberries per class to the surprise of Kaveh, who does not seem to value his knowledge. We agree to try a class and meet tomorrow. The next day at the institute Kaveh mentions that he prepared a whole program for the class. Alchemy tells him that it is not necessary since they have their own materials. We looked at them and everything seems to be correct. There are several classes and they are all first-class students. But only teachers and students can be in them. We wait for him until he finishes teaching. People nearby speak well of Alchemy and his success. We also heard that he is not good for teaching and no one would pay. But with Kaveh it is different. Those who do not manage to enter the Sumeru Academy come to this site. At the end of the class we see Kaveh apologize to some children for his anger. The class material is not used to train architects. The children do not care. They just want make quick money with sold dreams, including the lie that Kaveh has made a fortune as an architect. We confront Alchemy and he says that he may be an excellent professional, but he will never make money. He lacks business instinct. If we want a good life we must teach to others, even lying to them. Being professional or not depends on them. A student confesses to us that parents get into debt with a lender so that their children can study. They cannot say anything or they will be expelled. We look for him and pretend to be clients. We read the contract and we see the high interest they charge. We choose we will take you to the dungeon friend. We start a new fight and when we win we find out that Alchemy works with him. We take Far the moneylender to the academy to denounce. Sino appears, and we explain everything. They will take care of it from here. It's good that he didn't take the money or he would have to open an investigation even though he knows his innocence. He tells him that he also got a reward for reporting scammers. He promises that they will do everything possible to return some of the money that the parents they paid the lender. We chose the option I understand and we return to Port Ormuz. The children say that the center was closed and Alchemy placed under arrest. Kaveh says that he will continue teaching them during his spare time. We go to the lighthouse where the first class begins. Draw your own building as long as you like the design. This exercise is to find your own passion for design. We get the art is life achievement and the last achievement of the first class encounter. Subscribe for more content. Soon more encounter missions.